I've always believed that people only ask for what they genuinely need. Maybe that's a naive way to look at life, but it kept my world simple, predictable, and safe. That belief shattered on a rainy Tuesday evening, the night I received a request that changed everything. I was working from home, surrounded by half-finished reports and the hum of my old laptop. Outside, thunder rolled low and heavy, the kind that made the windows shiver. I love storms, they make me feel calm, oddly enough. But that night, the storm didn't feel soothing. It felt like a warning. At exactly 7:42 p.m., my phone buzzed. A message notification. Unknown number. Normally, I'd ignore it. But something about the way the screen lit up in that dim room made me reach for it without thinking. I need your help. Don't tell anyone. That was it. No introduction, no context. Just a command wrapped in desperation. I stared at the message for a whole minute. My first thought was that it was a wrong number. My second thought was, why did I feel cold all of a sudden? I typed back. Who is this? The reply came instantly, as if the person had been waiting, phone in hand. You know who I am. And you're the only one I can trust. Now, here's the thing, I didn't know. At least, I thought I didn't. But the phrasing, the certainty, felt personal. Almost intimate. My brain went through a mental list of old contacts, friends, co-workers, exes, estranged relatives. No one fit. I should have stopped there. But curiosity is a powerful poison. So I asked. What do you need help with? The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then returned. Whatever they were writing, they were struggling to say it. When the message arrived, my stomach dropped. Come to 49 Alder Street. Back entrance. Don't be seen. That wasn't a request. That was an instruction. I froze. Alder Street was downtown, an area with old warehouses, loading docks, and companies that operated after dark. Not the kind of place you visit during a stormy night unless you're being paid, or threatened. I typed. Why should I go anywhere when I don't even know who? Another message cut me off. If you don't come, someone will die. I'm not exaggerating. For a moment, all I heard was the storm. The world outside felt suddenly heavier, the rain angrier. I reread the message 3 times, hoping it would make more sense. It didn't. Someone would die? What kind of situation was this? Who talks like that? I considered calling the police. But what would I tell them? Hi officer, an unknown number texted me something dramatic and vague. They'd dismiss it immediately. A more sensible person would have blocked the number. A smarter person would have ignored the entire thing. But I've never claimed to be either of those. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the possibility that this wasn't a prank or scam, that someone could genuinely be in danger. Against all logic, I grabbed my jacket and keys. The streets were slick and reflective when I stepped outside. Streetlights shimmered on the pavement like melted gold. The storm hadn't eased, if anything, it had intensified. As I drove toward Alder Street, the wipers struggled to keep the windshield clear. The closer I got, the emptier the roads became. No pedestrians. No open shops. Just the echo of my car rolling through wet streets. When I reached 49 Alder Street, I felt a knot form in my throat. The building was old, with faded bricks and tall, dust-covered windows. A warehouse, definitely abandoned or close to it. The front entrance was gated, but the message had said back entrance. I parked a block away and walked. Each step splashed through small puddles. Each breath felt louder than it should have. I kept glancing around, half expecting someone to jump out. I reached the back of the building. A narrow alley. A metal door. A flickering light above it. Before I could knock or even think about knocking, my phone buzzed again. You're late. Late? I had left the house immediately. But before I could type a response, the door opened. A hand pulled me inside. Not forcefully, more urgently. I stumbled forward, hitting the ground with my hands. When I looked up, the door had already shut behind me. The room was dark except for a few industrial lights on the ceiling. It smelled like old paper, dust, and something metallic. And then I saw them. Standing in front of me. Hood pulled low. Face hidden in shadow. "Thank you for coming," they said. Their voice. I recognized it. I couldn't place it, but I knew it. Familiar yet distorted by fear. I stood slowly. "Who are you? What's happening?" They hesitated before lowering the hood. And when I finally saw their face, my skin went cold. It was Lena. My co-worker. My friend. My once closest confidant, before she mysteriously disappeared from work 2 months ago without explanation. Her eyes were bloodshot, her hair messy, her clothes soaked from the rain. "Lena? What is going on? Why did you disappear?" She stepped closer. "I didn't disappear. I was taken." Those words punched the air out of my lungs. Taken? By who? Why? I opened my mouth to speak, but she pressed a finger to her lips. "We don't have much time. They're watching." "Who's watching?" I whispered. Her voice cracked. "The people who kidnapped me. They're not done. They need something from me. Something only you can help with." My heart raced. "Me? Why me?" "Because," she whispered, "you're the only person who ever looked beyond the surface. The only one who asked the right questions." I swallowed. "What do you need?" She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small black device. It looked like a flash drive, but heavier, with a red indicator light. "This," she said, "contains something they want. Something dangerous. I escaped with it. And now they're coming." I stepped back. "Lena, what did you get yourself into?" Tears pooled in her eyes. "I didn't want to drag you into this. But they'll find me. They'll find both of us. Unless you help me finish what I started." The storm outside roared like a beast. And then she spoke the words that marked the true beginning of everything. "I need you to choose, run with me, or die with me." For a moment, the world stopped moving. The storm outside, the rattling windows, the sound of dripping water in the warehouse, everything fell into a strange, heavy silence after Lena said those impossible words, "Run with me, or die with me." I stared at her, waiting for some sign that she was exaggerating, that she was being dramatic after months of disappearing without explanation. But her eyes were hollow, terrified, and full of a truth I never expected to face. "Lena, what do you mean die? Who's trying to kill you?" I said softly, even though my voice shook. She paced the room, wiping her wet hair away from her face as if trying to calm herself. But fear clung to her like a shadow. Finally, she whispered, "They're called Black District." The name meant nothing to me. It didn't sound like a street gang or a corporation. It sounded like something organized, funded, structured, something professional. Something dangerous. "What did they want from you?" I asked. "Not want." "Want," she corrected sharply. She lifted the small black device she had shown me earlier, the one with the faint red blinking light. "This contains something I found by accident. Something I shouldn't have seen." I swallowed. "What's inside?" "A list," she said. "A list of people." I waited for her to continue. She took a breath. "Ordinary people. People like you. Like me. People who are about to disappear." A chill ran through me. Disappear? What kind of list is it? Names, addresses, daily routes, coded instructions. They're planning something. I don't know what. But I know the first name on the list. She looked at me, and her voice cracked. It's yours. My heart dropped so fast I felt dizzy. Mine? Why would I be on a list like that? I didn't do anything. You don't have to do anything, she whispered. You just have to exist. Sometimes that's enough for the wrong people. My thoughts scrambled. The unknown number that messaged me. The urgency. Her showing up here. Everything snapped into a frightening pattern. You're sure it's me? Not someone with the same name? She looked at me with a sorrow so deep it felt like a bruise. Your full name. Your home. Your work. Everything. It's you. My pulse hammered against my ribs. So you brought me here, why? To warn me? To drag me into something I can't survive? I didn't want to drag you in, she said, her voice cracking. I tried to stay away. But the moment they realized I took this device, they started tracking everyone connected to me. I felt my stomach twist. Including me, I whispered. Yes, she said. You were the closest thing I had to family. They assumed you knew something. And I don't, I said helplessly. I don't know anything. It doesn't matter anymore, she said. They think you do. That's enough. So we call the police, I said, clinging to the only logical solution left. Her reaction was instant and sharp. No, why not? Because some of them are the police. I stared at her. Lena, that doesn't make sense. They detained me, she said. I tried going to them the morning after I found the list. They took my phone, my bag. They questioned me for hours. They wouldn't even tell me why. How did you leave? I whispered. A guard opened the side door and said, run before you disappear. My blood ran cold. So we can't go to anyone. No one, she said. That's why I came to you. You're the only person I trust. The only one who might believe me. Believe you? I almost laughed. Lena, this is insane. Dangerous. Impossible. Doing nothing is more dangerous, she said. If we don't act, we die. If we run without a plan, they'll still find us. So what plan? I asked helplessly. She motioned toward the metal table littered with maps, photos, and scribbled notes. I've been tracking them. They have a headquarters. A hub. If we break in and expose everything, we might stand a chance. Break in? I repeated. We're not spies. We don't need to be, she said. We just need to be desperate enough. And we are. I stared at her, searching for the girl I used to know, the one who joked with me during lunch breaks, who complained about the air conditioning, who loved crime documentaries but never imagined living inside one. Why me? I whispered. Because you always looked deeper, she said softly. You cared when nobody else did. And I need someone who isn't afraid to question things. That's not the same as being brave. Brave doesn't mean fearless, she said. It means doing something even when you're terrified. The storm thundered outside as if emphasizing her words. The warehouse lights flickered. The air grew tense. So choose, she said quietly. If you walk away now, I'll go alone. You won't survive alone, I replied. She didn't deny it. And something inside me, some mixture of loyalty, fear, and the realization that my own name was on a target list, made the choice for me. I'm with you, I said. Relief washed over her face. Good. Then we have to move now. They'll come here soon. She grabbed her backpack and headed toward the back of the warehouse. But before she could open the door, she froze. Outside, a shadow shifted. Then another. My breath caught. They found us, she whispered. The door rattled violently. Someone was trying to force it open. Lena grabbed my hand. Run. We sprinted across the warehouse, our footsteps echoing against the concrete floor. Behind us, the metal door burst open with a crash. Heavy footsteps flooded in. Deep voices. Controlled. Cold. They were here. Find them both. Alive if possible. My heart slammed against my chest. They weren't searching randomly. They knew about me. They wanted me. Lena pulled me behind a stack of crates. Don't breathe, she mouthed. I held my breath until my lungs burned. Flashlights scanned the room, beams slicing through the shadows. Part of this place connects to old tunnels, Lena whispered. If we reach them, we escape. Where? I whispered. She pointed to a dark hallway across the warehouse. But the distance between us and that hallway wasn't empty anymore. A flashlight beam landed on our hiding spot. A voice shouted, "There." And suddenly, everything erupted into chaos. The moment the flashlight hit us, Lena didn't hesitate. She yanked my arm and pulled me up with a force I didn't know she had. "Run," she shouted, and we bolted before my mind even fully caught up to what was happening. The footsteps behind us were heavy, controlled, and terrifyingly close. These weren't random criminals chasing us. These were trained men. Men who knew exactly how to hunt. We sprinted across the warehouse floor toward the shadowed corridor Lena had pointed out. My heartbeat roared in my ears louder than the storm outside. Every step felt like running through water, slow, heavy, desperate. A gunshot cracked through the air, the sound ricocheting off the metal walls. I ducked instinctively as a bullet shattered a crate inches away from us. Splinters exploded in all directions. Lena didn't look back. "Keep going," she yelled. I didn't know what terrified me more, the men chasing us, or the calm, tactical way they moved. Every time we turned a corner, they weren't far behind. Their footsteps never stumbled, never slowed, as if they knew the layout better than we did. We reached the corridor and plunged into the darkness. It smelled like rust and dust and something old enough to be forgotten. The walls were narrow, closing in around us like a throat. Lena grabbed a metal handle on the floor, a trapdoor so old it barely looked functional. "Help me," she whispered urgently. We pulled together. The metal groaned, refusing at first, then gave way with a loud screech that echoed down the corridor. Terrible timing. The men heard it. Their footsteps grew louder. Faster. Lena shoved the door open and pointed into a black hole beneath us. A ladder stretched downward into darkness. "Go," she whispered. "Now." I didn't argue. I climbed down, my hands slipping on the cold metal rungs. Halfway down, I looked up and saw Lena starting to descend after me. Then a shadow appeared behind her at the top. A man lunged. "Lena!" I yelled. She kicked backward, hitting the man in the knee. He grunted but grabbed the edge of the trapdoor. She pulled the door down with all her strength, slamming it into his hand. A scream echoed in the corridor above. The door shut. Metal clicked into place. Darkness swallowed us. We were underground. The tunnels were colder than the warehouse. Wet. Silent except for our ragged breathing. Lena took out a small flashlight from her bag and clicked it on. The beam cut through the dark, revealing old stone walls covered in mold and dripping water. "These tunnels were built decades ago," she whispered. "Old supply routes. Nobody uses them now." "How do you know about them?" I asked, still breathless. I had 2 months to learn everything I could. She turned the light toward the path ahead. "Come on. We don't have long." We moved fast, our footsteps splashing through shallow water. The deeper we went, the more twisted the tunnels became. Tight turns. Narrow passages. Forks leading into blackness. There was no way I could have navigated them alone. Lena, however, seemed to know exactly where to go. "Are they following us?" I asked. "Not through the trapdoor," she said. "There's only one entrance." But they'll circle around. They know these tunnels exist. So they'll find another way in? Yes. That word made my chest tighten. Then we're not safe. We're not supposed to be safe, Lena said. We're supposed to be faster. We reached a wider section of tunnel where the ceiling arched high above us. It looked ancient, like part of an old sewer system. Water dripped steadily from somewhere above. This way, Lena said, shining the light to the right. But before we could take more than a few steps, a metallic clank echoed behind us, like something heavy being dropped. We both froze. Then came the voices. They weren't yelling. They weren't panicked. They were calm and precise, bouncing off the tunnel walls like a death sentence. They came through here, one man said. Split up. They won't get far. My blood turned to ice. Lena grabbed my hand. Run quietly, she whispered. We moved as fast as we could without splashing too loudly, but the tunnels betrayed every sound. The men's footsteps grew closer. They were spreading out, forming a net. A trap tightening around us. We reached another fork. Lena paused for half a second, scanning the walls with her light. Left, she whispered. We went left. The tunnel narrowed, forcing us to turn sideways to squeeze through. My shoulder scraped the cold stone. The flashlight flickered. Lena shook it, and the light stabilized. But the footsteps behind us grew sharper, faster, more confident. They were closing in. Suddenly, Lena stopped so abruptly that I ran into her. What? She pointed the flashlight ahead. The tunnel ended in a dead-end wall. No, 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 she whispered, her voice cracking. Lena. This wasn't blocked before. They must have sealed it off recently. So now what? My voice trembled. Her eyes darted around. There's another tunnel above this one. A maintenance shaft. If we can reach it. How? I asked. The ceiling is too high. She shined the light upward and pointed at a small metal grate at least 12 feet above us. I can boost you, she said quickly. Then you pull me up. I stared at it. The idea was insane. Impossible. But so was everything else that had happened. Before we could attempt it, a beam of light spread across the tunnel floor behind us. They found our path. Lena's eyes widened. Now. Climb on my shoulders. Go. I climbed as fast as I could, balancing against the walls. She pushed upward with all her strength. My fingers caught the rusty grate. I pulled. It resisted. I yanked again. It creaked. The flashlight beam behind us grew brighter. A voice called out, "Stop running." The grate finally snapped open. I hoisted myself into the narrow shaft above. Give me your hand. I whispered loudly. Lena reached up. I grabbed her wrist and pulled with everything I had. She scrambled, her boots slipping against the wall. The men were only seconds away. Their footsteps echoed like hammer strikes. One man shouted, "There." Lena's foot found a grip. I pulled her upward. She squeezed through the opening just as the flashlight beam hit the wall below us. We lay flat in the shaft, breathing hard, barely daring to move. Below us, the men looked up at the grate. He ripped it open, one of them said. He's stronger than he looks, the other replied calmly. It doesn't matter. They can't hide forever. Their footsteps faded. We waited until their voices dissolved into tunnel echoes. Only then did Lena turn her head slightly toward me and whisper, "We can't keep running like this. We need to reach the safe house. It's the only place they won't expect us to go." "What's at the safe house?" I whispered back. She looked at me, her breathing uneven. "Someone who knows how to fight them." The shaft stretched into darkness. And we crawled forward toward whatever waited for us next. The shaft was long, narrow, and chokingly tight. Every movement felt like pushing through the throat of some sleeping monster, praying it wouldn't wake. The metal below us groaned softly each time we shifted our weight, and every sound made my heart stutter. We crawled in silence for minutes that felt like hours, guided only by the weak cone of light from Lena's flickering flashlight. I wanted to ask how close we were to the safe house, but every word felt like a luxury we couldn't afford. Finally, the shaft sloped downward and opened into a larger maintenance tunnel. Lena dropped down first, landing lightly. I followed, my legs aching from the crawl. The air here smelled of damp earth and old machinery. Almost there, she whispered. Another 5 minutes. I nodded and followed her through the tunnel. The ground sloped upward until we reached a metal hatch overhead. Lena pressed her ear against it, listening. After a tense moment, she whispered, "Clear." She pushed the hatch open and climbed out. I followed her into a dimly lit basement that smelled faintly of gasoline and dust. The room was cluttered with crates, tools, and old storage boxes. A single bare bulb hung from a wire, casting a wavering yellow light. Lena paced toward a door at the far end. She knocked twice, paused, then knocked once more. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the door unlocked from the inside. Slowly, it creaked open. A man stood there. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Sharp eyes. Maybe mid-40s. His face was marked with old scars, thin pale lines that told stories of things he didn't need to say out loud. He looked at Lena, then at me. "You brought him," he said in a voice like gravel. "I had to," Lena whispered. "They found us." He stepped aside, motioning us in. The room beyond was small but organized, lined with maps, screens, and equipment I didn't recognize. It looked like a war room designed by someone who'd been fighting for far too long. "Sit," he ordered. I sat. Not because he told me to, but because my legs felt too weak to argue. Lena stood beside me, still breathing hard. The man turned to her. "You were supposed to go dark. No contact. No movement. They tracked me," she said. "I didn't have a choice." "There's always a choice," he replied coldly. Then he looked at me again. "And you're the one from the list." My stomach twisted. "You know about the list?" "I know more than that," he said. "I used to be one of them." Silence dropped hard in the room. I stared at him, unsure if I had heard correctly. "One of who?" I asked. "Black District," he said simply. "I was part of their internal operations division until I realized what they were planning." My breath caught. "And what are they planning?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to a table and pulled out a folder. He tossed it in front of me. Inside were pages filled with charts, diagrams, names, surveillance schedules. And then I saw it. My name. Not just listed. Highlighted. "Why me?" I whispered. "Why anyone?" He leaned against the table. "Black District is more than an organization. It's a machine built on control. They identify people who are inconvenient. People who ask questions. People who notice things. People who don't fit the quiet mold of obedience." His eyes locked onto mine. "You're one of those people." "I'm nobody," I argued. "I'm just a regular person." "Regular people don't end up on classified elimination lists," he said. "They saw something in you. And people like you threaten their system." The words felt unreal. Like they were meant for someone else's nightmare. "So what now?" I asked, my voice thin. The man sighed. "Now? Now you decide if you want to disappear, or if you want to fight back." Lena stepped closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. "I didn't want you involved," she whispered. "But once your name showed up, everything changed." "We can get you out," the man said. "A new identity. A new life. Somewhere they won't look. I stared at him. And you? Lena? We stay, she said. We finish what we started. The room felt colder suddenly. So I run while you risk your lives? I asked. If you stay, you'll die, the man said bluntly. They won't stop until they erase you. People like you don't get second chances with Black District. I lowered my head, absorbing his words. I thought of my life. My job. My apartment. Everything I believed was safe. Everything that wasn't safe at all. If I run, won't they still find me? I whispered. The man hesitated. Maybe. But I can buy you time. The way he said it didn't sound hopeful. It sounded like a promise soaked in sacrifice. Lena knelt beside me. I dragged you into this. I won't force you to stay. You deserve a life. Even if I don't. I met her eyes. Fear. Strength. Guilt. All tangled together. What would you do if you were me? I asked quietly. She smiled sadly. I would run. That answer cut deeper than anything else. The man stood and opened a metal locker, pulling out a small envelope. Take this. It has an address. Someone there owes me a favor. They'll give you everything you need to disappear. He handed it to me. It felt lighter than paper should. You have 5 minutes, he said. Then you walk out that back door and never look back. Lena hugged me suddenly, tightly, desperately. Please survive, she whispered. Please. I didn't know if I hugged her back because I wanted to or because I didn't know how to let go. When she pulled away, her eyes were wet. I stood up slowly. My hands trembled. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. The man opened the back exit, a narrow alley behind the building. Go, he said. I stepped outside. The cold night air hit my face. The alley was empty. Silent. Waiting. I took one step. Then another. Then I stopped. Something inside me twisted. A voice. A feeling. A truth. I turned around. I'm not running, I said. Both of them stared at me. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life hiding like a shadow. If they want me, they'll have to fight for me. Lena's eyes widened. The man's jaw tightened, but a flicker of something, maybe respect, crossed his face. Then, he said slowly, you just declared war. I walked back into the room and shut the door behind me. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know if we would survive the night. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty, I was done being hunted. Now, I would become the threat. And somewhere in the heart of the city, Black District had no idea that everything was about to change. Because I wasn't running anymore. I was fighting back.